Welcome to the Alexa Show. I am Alexa Servodideo, your host, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Well, joining me is clean beauty pioneer, Kim Walls. Kim is a skincare entrepreneur who focuses on bringing the healthiest, most effective products to the marketplace for all ages to enjoy. Her companies include Fortuna Skin, BEB Organic, and Kelson, just to name a few. Kim, welcome to the Alexa Show. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I really appreciate it. I love your show.
Oh, thank you so much. And where to get started? Well, your career, you have such a vast and successful career in the beauty industry. How did you get started?
Well, first of all, thank you for that. And second of all, I was born into it. I was very, very lucky. My father, when I was really young, 2, 3, 4 years old, started a skincare company because he had a skin disease called vitiligo. And so in his journey to resolve that, he started a skincare company. So from when it was a garage business to when it was an international success, I got to be around it my whole life. And then I started my own first skincare company in my early 20s.
Yes. And I think that's so incredible too, because so many times, so many people have so many different skin issues and they really don't know how to address it. And sometimes you can go from doctor to doctor and they really don't understand how serious it can be and how it can really impact someone's feelings about themselves and their self-esteem.
It's so true. It's really so true. And there's a lot that can be done with skincare. Doctors play a critical role in treating skin problems and with surgery and lasers and all kinds of things. But those fundamental building blocks of good, healthy, clean skincare really can't be replaced by all the great work that doctors can do. So those two things can work together to completely transform people's health and their mental state.
Yes, obviously. And I think, what's really great too is so many times with skin issues and skincare, they can have so many different effects emotionally. So it's so incredible that you have all these different lines that address so many different needs, so many different ages and types of people. Now, you have your line, BEB Organics, which is renowned in the medical field. It's actually given to NICU babies. What made you work with such a fragile population?
It's an underserved population. It really comes back to what you started talking about with the mental issues and the mental health issues. In the first premature baby I ever worked with was over 20 years ago, and that was doing touch therapy as part of a program with my university. And that was my first experience with preemies. And what I saw then and then continued to see in my career making baby skincare was that the parents of preemies are very intimidated to touch their babies. And they've got doctors around and machines and all kinds of things, and they don't feel confident and equipped. And that touch between parent and child can really change a child's outcome. It can change their blood oxygenation levels, their ability to find joy, their future relationships and ability to attach and bond with people. There was so much that was being served, and it's a very small community. And the other skincare companies just really weren't addressing it. They didn't need to. It's not a big market. It's a tiny little niche market of people who are really fundamentally underserved and who go through great mental health challenges. It's why we, to this day, donate 2% of our revenue to mental health programs that support mental health.
Yes, and really, as a first-time mom myself, my daughter just turned 1, and what you were saying as it's kind of scary at first to touch the baby. I mean, you don't, how do you do it? What products do you use? And you get so many gifts from people that I have that have different sprays and creams and this and that. And it's so confusing and overwhelming that you become a little frightened. Like, what do I use? Who do I ask? What do I do?
Well, it's true. It's so true. And there's so much more to skincare as well that really isn't addressed by most baby skincare companies. The best example I could give you is the textures. And it's something that, as the mom of a new 1-year-old, and congratulations for that.
Thank
I'm sure
you.
you can relate to. Babies can't stand having sunscreen. And the main reason for that is because when it's being applied, you're rubbing it on. And that is not a sensation that people like. They like to be pressed and touched. One of my favorite sayings came from a NICU nurse who said, "Think like a womb." That's what babies want. They want pressure. and solid, expanded touch, not this rubbing. And so when it comes to a really good skincare system, leaving out the ingredients and the pieces that make great skincare great, the actual textures and the scents matter greatly. So layering on water-based nutrients followed by oil-based nutrients, going through a system where the products can be pressed into the skin with very light touch and gentle rubbing, not this kind of action, makes them love the process more, makes it easier on parents. So there are so many elements, from the ingredients to the textures to the sequence products are applied in. And it really provides a great way for people, when you have time, a little bit of time, to engage in the rituals of healing and self-care and sort of elevate that connection that parents and children have, or caregivers or grandparents and children.
Yes, and I think it is so important. As a therapist, we speak a lot about those first bonding moments, the attachment. And I think it's so, and parents can be a little nervous and awkward. And it's okay to be that way. But I think it's learning how to kind of move that into the child and work with the child, because the child is feeling maybe a little nervous too. And I think creating that bond, and so many times when I was taking the prenatal classes, they would talk about baby massage and light touch and different types of oils. What would you recommend? Are there certain ones to ingredients to stay away from, or certain ones to use more than others?
Absolutely. And it's very age specific. Different types of oils are more appropriate for later stage babies. And that comes down to smell primarily, because the baby's sense of smell is far more, it's much stronger than adults. We lose our sense of smell as we age. And what smells normal to us smells extremely strong to a young child, especially a baby. Another thing about scent is that they actually can smell in utero. It's not the same process, but when a parent uses, for example, a lotion or a cream when they're pregnant, then that same smell is something that the child will recognize after birth. And it can make them feel more calm and protected and safe to have continuity in some of those smells. So that's a favorite point of mine. Another piece when it comes to the oils, as you asked specifically, is that few ingredients is better. That's not always true. People will often say, oh, the fewer ingredients, the better in general. Not always true. In this case, it is true, because when a child has the potential to react to something, you might not know what it will be. The fewer ingredients there are, the easier it is to discover what they might have a sensitivity to. So that's a really valuable thing. So a few ingredients. Sunflower seed oil is spectacular. One of the ingredients we use with BEB Organic that's unique to us is cranberry oil extract. And the reason we love that is because it has over 6,000 bioactive ingredients in it, components in it, that are supporting cell regeneration and strengthening. So all of our skin is always working to retain the proper acid mantle barrier. The surface of the skin has a right level of oil and water and sebum and all these things, and it's in a constant state of flux. So using oils that are compatible with that acid mantle barrier and are nurturing it is really valuable. And another piece that is important when it comes to oils is that they don't actually affect the skin pH. So using water-based products before an oil to adjust the skin pH back to its acidic balance, which is what it needs to be, is really valuable. A lot of times new babies will get baby acne. About 30% of babies actually get acne in that first year, in that first month. And that has a lot to do with the microflora of the skin not being properly balanced. So using ingredients that can help balance the microflora and then sealing in moisture, protecting that acid mantle barrier, will prevent blemishes and really enhance overall health. It also helps keep environmental pollutants out. So one of the things, should I keep going here, or is this getting boring?
Oh, yes, no, I love hearing all of it. I really,
Okay.
all these questions are coming up in my mind of what to ask you next, because I think it's so incredible. As how do we know our child's skin is sensitive or just baby skin and is having are they having a reaction, or is it something that babies just do? And I think by you explaining all these different process, it really starts bring things to make sense, and really something to really read up on for parents and really look into the different ingredients and how to apply them.
That's a great point. And it's also, and it's not just babies. There's this sort of misconception out there around high performance, high quality skincare. And people will often think, especially as we start to age and we get our fine lines and our aging starts to show up on our face, we get more and more spendy with our skincare routines. But high performance, clean skincare is also very important for babies because they're dealing with the same issues. Skin evolved, started its process maybe 6 million years ago. And by the time skin looked like what it looks like for us today, the environment that we lived in is wildly different. There was no air pollution. There were no holes in the ozone layer. There weren't cars to give us exhaust to change the structure of what's going on for us. So babies really do need high performance skincare that provides all that same protection from blue light. Think about they're in front of screens from 2 years old, 6 months old, all day long. They're getting the same assailants that we get as adults, and they need skincare that can help combat that to help them grow and thrive. And when it comes to other functions of the skin, a lot of people don't realize that the skin is a major center where toxins are brought into the body. We think about it in terms of skincare, but it's much bigger than that. For example, the first pathway is ingestion. So we'll eat all kinds of food that can create toxins within the body. And we think about the air we're breathing. We invest in air purifiers. We invest in things like low volatile organic chemical paint. And we're thinking about the air we're breathing. But that's actually the third largest pathway. The second largest pathway of toxins into the body is our skin. So when we come in, if there's California here where we've been raging with wildfires, that pollution in the air is coming into our body through our skin. So by using skincare products to do a quick cleanse, to use oils and balms that create an occlusive barrier over the surface of the skin, these are all ways to help keep toxins out and then also to help the body flush them out.
Because I mean, if you think about it, just, on a day-to-day basis, everything a person, when we're going out in our car, in the store, if you take a train or take a bus, there's all different toxins that we're coming into contact with, touching our face, touching things. And I think it's so many times people think, I'll just wash my face once or twice when I get home with some cold water and it should be fine. But it's really important to understand as I'm listening to you that really underneath that they're there, these toxins, and it's really important to put what you put on your skin to begin the day with, and also at the end, how to clean the skin, and then before you go to sleep, how to prepare your skin to kind of heal and regenerate and rejuvenate for the next day.
Absolutely. Big, huge yes.
Yes. Now, you're also a philanthropist, as you were saying, that portions of your sales go to different charities. How do you hope to inspire other companies and other people to pay it forward like you have done for so many years?
Thank you for that. I think that people recognize we create change in each other. And for every person who is creating a change in their own lives and helping people create change through purchasing, if people know as I purchase something, it's going toward a better cause and contributing, I studied anthropology in school. Reciprocity is real. And the way that chain reactions happen with people, the way we can move each other to shift is real. And so if every person does even just a little bit, we can create a chain reaction that really could change the world.
Yes, yes. And I'm a firm believer of paying it forward and giving it back to your community. And I think so many times people don't know where to start, or what can I do? What type of impact will I have? And it's really important that we all can make a major impact, even if it's just buying a certain skincare, buying a certain thing, washing our face a certain way, using certain products really makes a huge difference in other people's lives, but also in the environment, and also helping others become more environmentally aware.
Yeah, I think plastics is one of the biggest things that we can do pretty easily to start moving plastics out of our lives as much as possible. That makes a huge difference. We know and we think about it from the environment and from the landfills and the ocean, and we see all those pictures, we have an awareness of it, but a very personal thing for people to maybe think about is that plastic, because it doesn't biodegrade, it breaks down into microparticles that are in our air. And we're learning now that I mentioned how toxins come in through the body. especially for children, the blood-brain barrier isn't complete. And when those toxins come into our body, and microplastics are toxins, they're invaders in our body. They can create brain inflammation, which leads to all kinds of mental challenges. There have been by great, I mean real, like good, not that it's a good problem.
Yeah.
There have been studies showing now that mental health issues rise whenever there are spikes in pollution. Trips to the emergency room from psychotic episodes, especially amongst children, increase every time pollution increases in the air. So a lot of that pollution is coming from the microplastic that is left over from what we use. So I love to encourage people.
It does have such an effect on the body physically and also mental health, because I find so many times with many of my clients, and especially in the recent years, more and more are coming in with more physical complaints, skin conditions, different types of acne, psoriasis, all these different types of skin conditions, and also physical conditions, stomach issues, headaches, shoulder issues. And I really feel it's all connected with what's in the environment, the environmental stressors, and a lot of external. And I think, as humans, we take it all in and we hold it. And if we don't have the proper way to release it, to expel it, it's stuck in our body. And I think so many times with all these plastics, add that on top, it is just so unhealthy. And so I think very damaging for the mind, body, and the soul.
Absolutely. And so to that point, just something to share with the people who are watching this is, and to be aware of, is that massage helps us to move toxins out of our body. Like you were just talking about, it gets stuck in there, it builds up. We see the inflammation in our face. And when it comes to skincare and how we think about skincare, we look to products generally to meet needs. Like we want to sculpt, right? We want to bring out our cheekbones or sharpen our jaw lines. And so we look to very often fillers or different sort of outside ways to help. And I have no problem with any of those. But what I would like people to know is that they can pair that with things like facial massage. So when you massage your own face in the jaw area, you've got huge swath of muscle this way, and you get lots of tension locked in here. And a lot of people will do their skincare sort of like this, but if you get your knuckles in, you can knuckle massage in here, and it creates blood flow to the frontal lobes of the brain, which is, will shift memory and shift hormone balance, all these things. So if when people are doing their nighttime routines, they also give themselves a facial massage, they'll find that their face looks more sculpted, and that stimulation that they can do by themselves can marry and enhance with the products that they're using to really move toxins through and out of the body and shift the way we feel and the way we look.
Yes. And I think, so many people get full body massages, and maybe the last minute or two, they tap your face a little bit and they do just a little bit. But it is so important to be able to massage those areas. And also they get blocked, and that massage opens it up and has the blood flow and the circulation going through, just to help also have your face and clear all of that out of your system.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, your Kelson line focuses on hair care, and its products are 100% organic and also free of any synthetics and microplastics. How is that encouraging others and other companies to become environmentally aware and kind of setting that step forward?
I think the best answer for that has to do with the power that the people have to move companies in different directions by the choices they make. So when it came to Kelson, the hair pomade in particular, when I started looking into how hair pomades are made and doing the research around that in labs, I found that they were all made with microplastics. And so coming full circle to what we were talking about before, by using microplastic free as a point of differentiation in the market, and consumers responding to that and loving it and wanting it, and the professional athletes who are part of that line being able to talk about the problem of plastics in our environment, it gives people something to want. And other companies, if they see, when they see what a desirable trait that is in the product, they'll start making more products that are microplastic free. It'll push them to shift their formulas, shift their thinking, invest in their research. So it's the consumers who drive the change with the choices they make.
Yes, and I think more and more when these choices are being made, people can see the changes and see how that domino effect happens and they see one by one different things improving and helping to kind of be part of this change and this adjustment in the world, which is so empowering for everyone to be a part of.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is.
Now, one of your companies, Fortuna Skin, was just featured in Vogue. So please tell us, what makes this line just so special and unique?
Fortuna Skin is really wildly special and unique, and our tagline is wildly potent. A lot is wild about this line. It is founded, the genesis of this comes from the story. The genesis of this comes from a story that a grandmother used to tell her grandson when this 10-year-old little boy, who's now on our board and behind starting over. Can you ask the question again, please? Or at least the tail end of it.
So one of your companies, Fortuna Skin, was just featured in Vogue magazine. What makes this line so unique and so special?
Oh, thank you for recognizing that. Fortuna Skin is so special in so many ways, and it starts with its origin. So the farm where all the ingredients come from, we use wild foraged ingredients from a farm in Sicily. And that farm itself is a very special place because it was my co-founder's husband's parents' farm so many years ago in Sicily, and they had to leave and they came to the United States, and Steve's grandmother used to tell him these incredible stories, magical stories about things like goats that had spiral horns bigger than the goats themselves, and water that would come from the mountains and springs that you could drink from, and really incredible stories about the land there. And she missed it. And Steve said to her when he was 10 years old, "Nona, someday I'm going to buy that land back for you." And that's what he did. And when they got there, they found that there wasn't electricity, there weren't cell phone towers, people had broken apart with families because they had to move to find work. And so Steve and Agatha decided to invest in this community and rebuild what was once a thriving community. And they did that by creating a 17,000 square foot olive mill, planting over 12,000 olive trees, and investigating the land. They have archaeological digs going on there where the oldest remnants of Sicily have been found. They've created luxury products from olive oil to now this skincare brand, Fortuna Skin, where we can share the stories of Sicily. And really what it comes down to from a performance perspective is that these wild foraged plants have been on their own, surviving in very extreme conditions for hundreds upon thousands of years. And so they have very high levels of active ingredients. And we find the right kinds of plants that support skincare. So for example, Ancusa azurea is our star, and its common name is Italian buglasa. And that has been used for thousands upon thousands of years in ancient medicine. And my focus has always been ethnomedical practices and studies and botanical studies to make skincare formulas. So when I saw this particular ingredient and I knew that it had been used in poultices to the skincare problems of old, right? Snake bites, rope burns, things like that, they would use this herb in it. And so in knowing those old stories, we then took it to modern labs that were testing on against skin cells, essentially, to find out if they really could perform and repeatedly perform the way we believed that they could, and they can. And so we take these wildly potent plants and immerse them in olive oil made from the farm, pulse them with sound waves. It's our sound bath extraction method. And that gets all the potents out of the plants and into the olive oil or olive leaf water. We make both. And then we make the skincare with it. So there's everything about this brand is really unique and innovative. And it's a way that we're marrying ancient science with modern science to bring high performance skincare product out that's also doing good things for the world.
Absolutely. And I love it. I love your story. I love
Thank you.
your background and the legacy. And I think it just brings so much more passion too, obviously, for your different companies and why we can see it in your eyes and we can hear it in your voice when you're speaking about it, that it's your passion, it's your love, and you really have such a connection with it, which I think is so important for the consumers to know that the people making these products are so passionate and really stand behind what they're putting out there.
Thank you. I do love it.
Now, you brought up olive oil.
Mhm.
More and more, I'm finding out more exciting uses for olive oil and makeup. Could you give some of my viewers some quick tips that they could use at home, especially now, with the pandemic, and sometimes you can't get those different things that you usually use? What are some things they can do at home?
Absolutely. So olive oil for sure. Coconut oil is great. What I do recommend is taking singular ingredients and maybe blending one or two or three, but don't get too technical, because things like the pH or bacteria that could form in them, these are things that can be very, very harmful to skin. So I really don't recommend home chemistry skincare, except if you're doing it to use that day, just like the food you eat, right? Use it that day or the next day, and then if you don't finish it, discard it. And using things like lemon can be very acidic, but if you use it in the right ingredient, within the right if you use it in the right concentration, then it's okay, and it can add a little bit of peel. You can use milks. Honey is really good for skin. There are, I think, some spectacular recipes online, DIY type recipes for skincare. I would just encourage you, when you find the ones that you like online, to only do the really simple ones and don't store it. Just use it that day, love it up, give yourself a great massage, and let it go.
And don't freeze it and try and save it for the next couple of months.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm known for freezing everything, so that's why I had to say that. I'll use it again and I'll just put it in the freezer, which probably would not be a good idea. For those watching, for moms who want to become a cleaner lifestyle for themselves, but also for their families, where can they start? What are some small first steps that they can feel like, this is what I'm moving towards, a cleaner lifestyle?
The first step is probably the easiest and the hardest step all at once. And it's that, what's her name, Marie Kahn, the Kahn method, in your kitchen cabinet, or in your bathroom cabinet. So really looking at what you have and being willing to let go of the things that aren't clean. So I think what I hear a lot is, oh, well, when I've used this up, then I'll move on to something else. And I think the best thing to do is to just give yourself a limit and just make the choice. I'm going to do this. And yes, I love this product, but I'm going to get rid of it. And by not having it anymore, it really pushes you to find what you will use in the clean space. There are so many spectacular clean brands out there. And you know what I actually would love to recommend is the Good Face Project. So the Good Face Project is an organization that gives you sort of the clean ratings on various things, and they hit every price point. It's very important to the Good Face Project to make sure that clean beauty is affordable. So that is a fantastic place to start, because you can look at what you have and see how it rates. And if it doesn't rate, they'll even give you alternates. So you say, oh, well, this does this, but there are all these other alternates that are clean. Or if you love, for example, vitamin C, you can put vitamin C in their database. For, a lot of people are addicted to their vitamin C serum. So you can put that in the database and they'll spin up 3 or 4 different options. So I think that's a spectacular place to start, but also just being willing to throw away the things that aren't working.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show. I have learned so much and have so many different thoughts going through my mind. I'm literally going to have to rewatch my own show and take notes on everything you've said, because you really hit on some really incredible points and plans for the future that can really help anyone who's home, who wants to live a cleaner life, but also affordable. And that's something that they can afford to do, but also that they can do on their own, that they can figure this out, and it's affordable and easy to do. And again, I just wanted to thank you for coming on and for all that you do and for giving yourself and everything to this community. We really appreciate you.
Wow. Well, that literally makes me tear up a little bit. It's an honor, and I can't thank you enough for bringing stories out about everything with so much heart and commitment. I really am honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in tonight and for all of your support. And please make sure you're always finding your peace within the chaos. Everyone, have a good night and God bless.